Last episode, we finished off our lumber yard so that we can pull in 4 different types of wood and all of its variations. We also built ourselves a little factory that can create us andesite, turn that andesite into andesite alloy, and turn that andesite alloy into andesite casing using some of the stripped logs from the lumber yard. And in this episode, we are going to be finishing off that factory so that it can do the last of that process, so that it can turn everything into andesite casings. Now, you can see that I have left this running for a little bit, and we have 4,420 andesite and 3,000 andesite alloy. This is going incredibly well. So the next thing that we need to do is we just need to replicate this system again on this side and with deployers. And then we are finished with this farm. But if you guys remember the end of the last episode, I did tell you that there were big plans in this area. You can see I've cut down a lot of the trees. And the next couple of episodes, episode 9, this episode is going to be doing a lot of prep for episode 10, which is hopefully going to be the final episode of this area. Don't you worry, the series is not over. We will just be moving to a different area. You can see that I've put up a little wall here. But yeah, you can see that I've done a little bit of prep for the middle bit here. And this episode is going to be a lot of preparation for the end of this area and how we are going to move on and what our plans for the new area are. Okay, so like I said last episode, this episode is going to be predominantly preparation for leaving the area. And if you guys remember, I said that I had quite a few farms to build. I think I said 4. I have a little bit more than 4. So I just want to run through those with you. So we have a cactus farm, a cocoa bean farm, bone meal farm, wheat farm, dough farm, slime farm, magma farm, and obsidian farm. All that I have to build before episode 10. Now, I am willing to let the obsidian farm go and not build a full-on farm until the new area. But that's a lot of stuff to get through. So the next episode, this episode is going to be a little bit faster paced than normal. We're going to get a lot more done, hopefully a lot quicker. So what I'm going to do right off the bat is I'm going to go and collect all the resources for this, and then we can finish building it. You guys have seen me build this one. You guys have seen this one pop into existence. So I'll just do the same for this one. I'll come back to you when it's done. Okay, now that we have everything sorted, let's get this built. Okay, now that this is all constructed and everything is working well, all we need to do is power it and then link up the storage. So the reason that I have not linked up the storage just yet is because obviously we need to link up the storage to our lumber yard over there to make sure that we can pull in some stripped logs. So what I think I want to do initially is just go over and see how many of each stripped log we actually have. Okay, so if I have a look over here, the log that we have the most stripped of is spruce. So I think we're going to use spruce for this. It just makes sense to link up and then have spruce the log that we're using. So now that we have that filtered and everything is hooked up, all we need to do is link up the storage. So yeah, I think we should probably just bring the logs over to here because we have 17,000. It's more than enough. So I'm just going to go and grab the logs from over there and then we will do that instead. It makes more sense than trying to link up the storage to me. So let's go grab it. Okay, now that we have all the wood over, we also have everything connected up. So now the deployers are going. All we need to do is get some cog wheels over. Right, there we go. Perfect. Yes, we're getting andesite alloy. Amazing. We're making andesite. We're making andesite casing. We're making andesite alloy. All we need to do is get a clutch in. And I think the clutch is going to go on this block here. So now we can make andesite alloy, andesite casing, and andesite itself all in one go. Look at the andesite casing. So now that that is done and our andesite factory is producing andesite, andesite alloy, and andesite casings, we can move on to a couple of the next projects that I want to build. So I've been having a little fly around the valley using my free cam, and basically what I've thought is we're going to put one farm up here and another farm over here. So the one that's going over here is going to be cocoa beans turning into bone meal, and the one up here is going to be cactus. So those are 2 very, very prominent farms that we need in this area right now. So I think I'm going to start on the cactus farm because I think it's going to be the easiest with this terrain. So I'm just going to get our contraption up here, level the top of this out, get rid of some of these trees, and then we can start building our cactus farm. And I think a space just like this should be fine. So if we just fly up, you can see that it is quite a big space. There's a lot of space at the front so that we can have a path and some stairs and everything. And overall, it is just I think it's a good space to be working with. We might shrink it a little bit more on this side, maybe by another 2 blocks. Okay, now that we have the platform sorted and we have a nice place to put our cactus farm, what we're going to do is we are going to go and collect all the create components for it. So I'm going to need some mechanical saws, some chests, and a couple of other create components that are going to power this thing. It's going to be a very simple farm, and I'm wondering if we can try and squeeze both farms into the same building. So I think the first thing I want to do is figure out where we want to put this. So I'm thinking here. So we'll have a controller rail there, and then we'll fill the rest with powered rail until the end. That will pop a controller rail there. Then we can power these and pop everything down this. So we want to make sure that's going in the right way. We want to lock rotation. And then we just want to build this out. And I think a system like this should do just fine. I was debating maybe using a few other millstones, but I feel like I don't think we're going to need that much realistically. And then that's pretty much it for this factory. Like, there isn't anything else that we can include, except I think we are going to do the bone meal on this side of the factory. So we still have this whole corner, and I think this is where we're going to do our bone meal farm. So it's going to be the exact same system, except it's just going to be going into a composter, and basically we're just going to have a little system here with harvesters harvesting a few cocoa berries, cocoa beans that are on some jungle wood. I've already gone out and collected the cocoa beans and the jungle wood. I just need to get the actual farm set in place for the cactus, and then we can build a building, and we should be good to go from there. And with a little bit of luck, we should be seeing these working now. Let's see if this works at least. Oh, it does. Nice. It just needs to actually take it out. Cool. So all we need is power to the belts, which is fine because I actually have a little space for power to go right there. So I did add a couple of walls to this build just to make sure that I had the dimensions right and to make sure that I could fit everything in. I need to add a little bit more on the front here, but that's fine. Like I said last episode, this episode and next episode are going to be very fast-paced. So if you guys do see me skip over a couple of processes, for example, skipping over the building process of this, I'm sorry. Please do understand that I'm really trying to get a lot done in the next couple of episodes. So there are going to be really big pieces of progress that might not be recorded. I will try and get most of it in for the best part. But other than that, I think this system should work okay. I think we might have an issue with those end ones over there. That one there is not being harvested, but the rest will be harvested. And yeah, I think we're going to get more than enough cocoa beans out of there because all we need it for is bone meal anyway. And as soon as we get power onto these belts, it is going to come out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off this building, and then from there I will power the belts and I will show you guys the finished working farm. So with a couple of encased chain drives, this should be able to not pull out any bone meal. Okay. I mean, this side of the farm is working. The actual cactus side is working fine. I think one issue is that we don't actually have any cactus, so we might need to get rid of that just for a little bit, because one cactus isn't going to get us enough green dye. So I think I'm going to do is empty this out and just grab some cactus first, just so we can make sure that we're getting, just so we can make sure that we're getting everything. But this side doesn't seem to want to work, so I might need to rejig this a little bit. So as it turns out, the composter is really weird in Create, so we are going to have to figure out a different way to do the bone meal farm. But for now, I think we could probably just chuck in a bunch of bones. I mean, we have a skeleton spawner, so we have like 5,000 bones, so there's no issue that we'll run out of bone meal anytime soon. We just might need to replace this with a 2x2 drawer instead so that we can store the white dye as well. Perfect. And now that we have all the bones on top here, we are getting plenty of bone meal and white dye. As soon as this cactus grows a little bit more, we can plant some more, get some more green dye. And then once we have that, we can start combining it for lime green dye, and we'll get a wheat farm built so that we can get them combined to make slime. And once we have the slime, we have loads of blaze in our blaze spawner over there, which we can combine with that to create magma. And once we have that, we can wash that down to obsidian. So that will complete all the farms for this area. And then all we need is a little factory to generate what we need for episode 10. Now, if anybody has figured out, based on the just discussing what I need for episode 10 and discussing all the farms that I'm going to build and everything, and explaining that I've left this big sort of middle bit open for a reason with no builds in it, has anybody managed to figure out what episode 10 is going to center around? If you have, don't spoil episode 10. Type that down in the comments below if you've managed to figure out what we're going to use episode 10 to focus on and what we're going to build in episode 10, because you might be the smartest of the bunch. If I see any comments that specifically say don't spoil episode 10, then I know I have a smart audience. And while you're down there commenting don't spoil episode 10, if you are enjoying the content and you are excited to see what episode 10 is, even if you don't know what it is, you should subscribe anyway, because I see that a lot of you guys still aren't subscribed, and it would help me out a ton. And if you guys are enjoying the videos and you do want to see what episode 10 is going to be about, or you're just excited to see it and you already know based on the little clues that I've been giving you, then yeah, hit that subscribe button. It's free, it helps me out a ton, and you can turn on the notification bell so that you'll never miss a video. And then you won't miss episode 10. I think something just nice and simple like this will do just fine to house our bone meal and our green dye farm. And now that we have these, we can start to make lime green dye, and all we need is some wheat dough, which is really easy because it is just milled wheat that's been washed, and then we can start to make slime. And slime mixed with blaze gives us magma, and we can wash magma into obsidian. So we are very, very close to finishing off all of the farms that we need to build this episode. And then all we need to do is build one contraption to get us a bunch of one certain component, which is easy because I think we're just going to put that in our workshop, or we can just build a little alcove or something, or we'll put it in our foundry. But either way, it's really not going to take very long to get where we need to go. I have a ton of wheat in the storage system. So really, with how much slime we actually need at this point, I think we're just going to use this wheat. We will get a wheat farm set up, but I don't think it's totally necessary for the slime farm. So I think we might leave a wheat farm until the next area. But either way, we have 22 slime at the moment, so we can make quite a few magma, but we do have a little bit of obsidian left over and quite a bit of magma, so we can go and wash that, get this ground up, and get ourselves some more powdered obsidian. So let's go and sort that. Awesome, so I've managed to grab about 2 stacks of lime green dye. So now all we need to do is get a system where we can mill down some wheat, and then with that milled down wheat, all we need to do is wash it. So I actually think I'm going to put that in this factory with the cactus and the cocoa beans, probably round the side here, purely because I think it makes the most sense. We already have power, and this is what we use to make the lime green dye. Why not just have everything that we need here? So I'm going to get a little system set up so that we can do that. It's probably just going to be along this wall. And then once I've done that, we'll make some slime balls, get them combined with some blaze powder, and from there we will make some magma, wash that down into obsidian, and I've already got loads of obsidian dust. So the magma farm is probably going to be worked on more fully in the new area, but at least we have it here for like manual creation of magma if we need some extra obsidian at any point, or, you know, even if we just need some magma. But we have basically everything sorted. So next we need to build a little factory just to make sure that we can start constructing all the components we need. And you guys can see over there that I've already cleared up a really nice space that I'm just going to pop a really basic factory in. I already have an idea for the design, and I'm really happy with the design. I think it's going to turn out really well. But once we have those components getting made, we should be good to go. And then we can start mass producing them in preparation for next episode, and then just start getting rid of some of these trees, because this whole middle area is going to be transformed. And then I think that should bring our area to a close. Oh, I'm very excited. Okay, it's not the prettiest system in the world, but I do actually think it's going to work. So if I just chuck some wheat in there and then grab some cogwheels so that we can hook this all up. So I want to skip the bone meal for now and then just hook this up. So this should start to work. We should see this turn into dough. Then if I just get my drawer key and my quantify key. So we should see that 3 go up to a 4. Oh, yes. It's working. And it's getting into stacks now. So it does take a while. It's very slow and it's very inefficient. But we have dough. It is working. We've automated wheat dough. And if we add a cogwheel in here, we can automate more bone meal. But with this wheat dough, we can take a stack of lime green dye and a stack of wheat dough and make slime balls. We have a slime farm and it's all contained in one building. Oh, this is amazing. So now with the slime balls, what we can do with those is combine them with blaze powder to make magma cream. And with the magma cream, we can make magma blocks, and if we wash magma blocks, we get obsidian, and if we take the obsidian over to the crushing wheel and we crush it, we get crushed obsidian. I mean, we have so much of it already from all the obsidian that I collected in my off time, but now we can automate it. And that means we're one step closer to finishing off this area and getting exactly what I want out of this world. The first major project is now farmable. This is incredible. So I need to go get to work on that other factory that is going to go over there. And then once we have that, then I can start mass producing something that we're going to use next episode. And I think something just like this is going to do perfect for what we need. So obviously I'll terraform around here a little bit so it fits in. But I think it's a nice contrast. It's much lighter in color than any other build we have. Every build we have is really dark with the deep slate and the granite and the spruce and everything else. And this is tough and granite and I'm being chased by a creeper. This isn't good. Anyway, now that's dealt with, I think it's a lot lighter in color. And I actually don't mind too much that it's lighter in color because I think it still fits in really well with the surrounding area. I think it's still a really nice building to have around. And this is going to be our little factory that is going to produce us a couple of components that we need. We are predominantly going to be using the bottom floor, but obviously the top floor is going to be used for something. I just don't know what yet. So I am just going to get some power put in the little power room there, route it in through the back, and then we need, I think, 2 contraptions in the bottom floor, and then that's pretty much it. I think it might just be the 2 contraptions. So this building might be a little bit overkill. We probably could have just thrown the contraptions into the workshop, but I felt like we needed something over here. Like I said earlier, if you commented earlier saying don't spoil episode 10, then you already know what we're doing. If you've got to this point and you still don't know, well, you're just going to have to subscribe and stick around and find out next episode. And now with a bit of power rooted in, I think all we need to do is get the system for what we need set up. Well, one of the systems. And then after that, we should be good. It's just trying to figure out, I need lava for this system. So I have spouts. And it's just trying to figure out where I can actually put them. What I'm thinking is if we take a cogwheel and we get rid of this one and then put a cogwheel in there, then we can put a pump on here and then have the spout like here. That makes sense. And then we can have one press here and one press here. And that should get everything powered properly. So all we need to do is actually just power these. I don't know if they're too high. No, they should be fine because we're going to have a belt down here anyway, going over to here. So all we need to do is get a fluid pipe and then pump in some lava. Okay, after a couple of tiny mishaps with the contraption, I decided to put our lava tank on the back of the house, and you can see the mishap where it kind of clipped into the wall and sort of broke a hole in the building. But you know what? We fixed it. All we need to do is replace a couple of spruce planks, but I think this makes a lot more sense for what we're going for. So we need to have something exporting this. So we want a belt along the bottom here. We want a belt along here, maybe to here instead. And then we just need a way to try and power this belt. So I think the best way to do that would be probably with a gearbox, and we get one there. Let's just see if this is turning the right way. There we go. Is that turning the right way? Yes, it is. Amazing. So then we can put a shaft just in the middle here, and that will power our belt. So now all we need is, I actually want to shrink this belt a little bit, just like that. And then now that we have that, we can fill that up with andesite casing and get our inputs and outputs on here. We need a barrel on the front here. So let's quickly fill this in with andesite casing. And then we're going to use copper casing right here. And we could actually do copper casing along the whole front system. That would be quite cool. But we're going to have a barrel sitting here with a brass funnel coming out and only outputting one item. So do we have any brass funnels? We do. We have a brass funnel. Nice. And then over on this side, we'll just have another barrel just here with an andesite funnel facing inwards, just so we can collect all the items. So all we need to do is actually get a barrel in here and start making the component. And once we have done that, we are ready to move on to episode 10. So as a case of not spoiling, I am not going to show you what is going through this system, but for anybody who knows Create and anybody who knows what needs lava and then pressed twice, and why we've needed any of the other farms we have today, then let me know in the comments by typing "Don't spoil episode 10." But that is all I have time for this week, guys. I hope you're looking forward to next week. I know this video was really hectic and fast-paced and all over the place, but I had a lot to do and not a lot of time to get it done in. So I hope you guys are ready for episode 10. I'm going to use what little free time I have left just to make up a bunch of these components and test a couple of things in a creative world. And then once I've done that, we should be good to start filming episode 10. And that is, episode 10 is going to be my favorite episode of the series, I think, so far, as long as I can get everything that I want done. But this valley is about to go through a massive change, like bigger than any individual change we have had so far. It's about to completely change in the course of one episode. As long as I can get everything that I have in my head translated into Minecraft, I am so excited that this is going to look incredible. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you did, please drop a like. It helps me out a ton. And if you are enjoying the content, please do subscribe so that you never miss an episode again and you can keep up with the series as it goes on. It's also free and it helps me out a ton, and I know that, like, a lot of you guys still aren't subscribed, so it'd mean a lot if you could hit that little subscribe button down below. I cannot wait to get filming this next episode. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited. I'm ready for it. I hope you guys are too. I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye! And so the production begins.